All right, so today's video, we're watching a gold 4. By the way, I think it's time we improve this lighting a little bit. We're part of the map right now at this point. All right, a gold 4 tank who plays pretty much everything in this game. I forgot what tanks this tank didn't play. They want to know, was all the hero swapping worth it? And how did they play on D.Va? Well, if they swap about 8 heroes with how long this game is, I'm actually, at this point, I'm wondering if they're even gonna get an ultimate. So we'll find out. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube, like the video if you haven't. It's video time. All right, so the first hero, we're gonna see a Mauga, which obviously Mauga's been, I'd say, nerfed to the point where it, like, doesn't play as well, right? You know, it doesn't play as well as before, but, you know, probably can still work. There's a Winston, so you should be in a decent spot here. That Winston should have no fun. That Winston should have no fun. At all. Remember, when you're playing... Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay, so you have to recognize what they have. So if they have a Bastion, the last thing you want to do is go Mauga. I mean, is not have your cooldowns up and run into Bastion. At this point, make it so Winston has no fun. You can get the Bastion, but wait till Bastion's in a spot where, like, they don't have turret form. And then you'll be able to just pop off. But if you just sit there and play into how the Bastion wants to play, you're gonna get rolled. And that's what you just saw. Do you see how you made the Winston not have any fun? Perfect. Now wait, don't peek the Bastion. Good job. LOS behind a wall is a good play there. You can do the slam. I like that slam. Nice job. Okay, now be careful. Cooldowns. Cooldowns. Just wait. Just wait. Don't overpeak yet. You're doing that now, which is good. Nice. Now use your lifesteal in a second. Which would be your Cardiac Overdrive, which is the other ability that's on charge. Okay, there you go. Much better. Do you see what happens? Do you see what happens, by the way, when you don't just sit there and try to 1v1 a Bastion and not use your cooldowns? You hid behind walls. You did a good job. Oh, I don't know that question. Okay, they went Mauga on you now, which... This should go in your favor, but I do want to point out you've also LOS'd your teammates. And you're going to survive and probably... I want to kind of show you something, because this is something that I do sometimes on tank, and I've tried to get a little bit better at this on tank. If you ult right here, on your vision of this, right? Your vision of this is like, holy crap, this is such a sick ultimate. Like, this is going to be amazing. Do you see what the problem is? There's one line of sight here for your teammates, and there's one right here for your teammates. So if they're not all pushed up with you, you're actually kind of playing into the other team. You see what I'm saying? You just make sure that your team is willing to be committed with you. Otherwise, now they have to waste tree on a fight that you normally wouldn't have to waste tree on that because you have a good Mauga ult. Right? Now the fight is getting a lot worse. I mean, as a Bob, you now have had a Bob. So all your ults get wasted because basically you went out of LOS. And sometimes it's like plays like that you got to kind of just pay attention to where your supports are going to be. And if your team pushes up with you, all these follow-up ultimates probably won't happen. I say that, and you could pretty much tell your teammates that you're going to use your ultimate and do not use your ult, and everybody will use your ult. Why? Because it happens in top 100 games, too. So. But it's a thought that counts, right? Thank you, Dallas. Hope you have a great day. The enemy Mauga got rolled twice? Yep. You know what I want to know at this point? How did you manage to swap a bunch of heroes at some point during this? In general. Like, I want to see what happens when you go on this, like, oh, there it is again. Now back away to the right. There you go. Good, what was I going to say? Good job backing up there. Not a good job going in front and getting rolled, right? Because then your teammates, once again, are forced to have to pop cooldowns to try to save you. As you can see, what's the best way to explain this? 2 of your aggressive plays. Keep in mind, as a tank, you want to take map control. But you don't want to make it so your teammates have to spam ultimates and overextend to try to save you. Because then even if you back up at a certain point and nobody's there to follow up with you initially, now all the cooldowns that your teammates would normally have when they push in, you're not going to have because you play aggressive. You see what I'm saying? So as a tank, you want to create space, which is basically making it so your teammates don't have to worry about them being on top of them, right? Like, you don't have to worry about, like, the whole team just being right on them. It's just not, you get what I'm saying? That's how you create that space. But if you just go past them and your teammates can't follow up on anything that you're doing, then all you're going to do is feed at that point, right? And that's where you feed. Perfect. Wonderful. As we were, yep. Perfect. Now your Mercy comes in and try to save you, and now the team fight is over. Do you see what I'm saying? Oh, I know the ultimate. When it comes to like a Mauga ult like that, I just go, it is at that point. So like what I was referencing, like you don't want like when you're playing the game, would you prefer if their whole team was on you right here as Ana? So like let's say that this is the Ana on your team, and like the whole team is just like, you know, on top or around this area where Ana's at, right? What's gonna be better? The Mauga being here and being in a spot where the Ana can heal? Or the Mauga going over here, hiding, and then getting rolled. The Mauga stays here, which not only gives map control for your team, but it also creates space for your teammates so they don't have the whole team just running on them, running on top of them, doing all this stuff. You get what I'm saying now? And that's why, like, as a tank, sometimes there's this, like, in-between of, like, I need to go and be aggressive and, you know, just charge in. When in reality, you want to take map control and space for your team. And as your team goes forward with you, you can continue to go here. But when you go out of LOS, then your teammates are forced to use cooldowns, and then you get rolled. Keep in mind, if you watch me play tank, which obviously I play a lot of tank, you'll probably see me do that sometimes. And then the first thing I'll go is, I overextended that. That was on me. So, just want to point that out. As you keep doing, and like, I actually think you probably would have won this round specifically if you didn't overextend multiple times. Dritzen, thanks for the 24 months. The British Prime. You don't really see Mauga charge at all. Mauga charging in is almost like it's almost like a time and play, right? It's what's the way to explain this? Let's say that you're playing Winston and you dive in. Unless you're like zoning out in the area, you generally want there to be a reason, right? Like say you're playing with a Tracer, you want the Tracer to be able to go in with you and do the damage, right? When you charge in as Mauga and nobody's with you, more often than not, you're going to get rolled unless you have a set plan, right? And that's why I wouldn't charge in as Mauga that much. All right, here we go. That was certainly a rollout. That was something. And Antonio, thanks for getting this up. Thank you. This is the part where when I first was learning Doom, I did the same thing. I do these really cool moves that look cool, but then don't do anything. That's a much better play. That is a little bit overextended, but I don't think you did it on purpose. That was okay. That was a play. Okay, so your punch was on accident. I think you were trying to go for the Mauga, and then you missed the Mauga, which went deeper there. If you hit the Mauga, it would have stopped you in place a little bit, and you wouldn't have... Okay, that was some Doom play. We got to really showcase your Doom skills. That was wonderful. All right, on to Orisa now. You could be using it to charge out of bad situations, of course, yes. Honestly, most of the time with charge, it's better to use it almost as a disengage. And the reason being is because you have damage reduction so you can get out. So yes, that is something that is an effective way to use it. Not all the time, but sometimes. Okay. So something that you're currently struggling with, and this is going to probably help you out a little bit. I actually think this will help you a little bit. You are seeing a target and you're getting distracted by just one target in front of you. You get what I'm saying? So what you're doing is you're not really focusing on what you want to do. You're just seeing somebody and then you just start blasting. I'm already seeing that. Like you see somebody and you just start blasting. You don't think about where you want to go. You don't think about your positioning. You don't think about what you want to do. And that's basically what you're doing. So right now at this point, as a tank, the best thing that you can do is be like, okay, we're gonna stop here for a second. What is my game plan here? Start with that. Understand where you want to go, and that game plan can be simple. I want to take this part of the map right here. I want to control this. You want to ready? You want to cut this map in half, basically. So you want to take this side, right? That's a good first step. Now you're in a good spot. What is their reaction? Okay, they didn't do anything that was reactive. What's your next spot? Okay, you want to make it so this Bastion is going to have no fun. You're going to be a little bit more aggressive, and you're going to use your... You see what I'm saying? How if you kind of bring it... If you kind of think about what your next step is, it's Overwatch, though. Keep in mind, one of the most difficult parts of Overwatch, and this becomes way more advanced, and like this is why we don't go too deep into this part of it, is what happens if what you're going to do and what your plan is changes on the fly. What if this Bastion immediately goes into turret form on your play? Are you going to run at the Bastion and commit to that Bastion? Or are you going to back away for a second and go left side here and take a different angle? What is your play going to be? Well, what if the Mauga takes this part of the map? What are you going to do next? You see what I'm saying? So that's the next part. But taking it step by step when you're first starting, and especially like, when you're in gold, you can take that step by step, and then as you climb, you can make those adjustments on the fly. Because Overwatch really is about making adjustments on the fly. So the more that you can do that, and the more that you can make like those type of decisions, the quicker you'll probably climb, because more than likely the other player will be out of position and doing what you're doing. You see what I'm saying? I know I kind of went on a little bit of like a rant on that one. Not a rant, but like a deep discussion about that. That's what happens. All right, so here you go. What's your plan? Good job. You went to the right spot. This is good. Now remember, what's your plan now? Okay, so already you did what you wanted to do, and then you javelin spin. Why'd you javelin spin? What were you javelin spinning for? What was the play? Now what happens? You fall over, right? Like, why did you javelin spin? You see what I'm saying? First step was great. Second step was they didn't do what you thought they were going to do, and then you javelin spin. Now you don't have it. You see what I'm saying? You told him to swap to Winston? Is that so you can watch them fall over immediately? I don't understand. What's the... I want you to look at their comp, and I'm going to be real with you. If you go Winston right now, and I'm the other team, I'm going, wow. Thank you.
Wrecking ball will be optimal here in Mauga.
Oh, I can't deny one thing. You had a plan. Nice javelin. And... hey, it worked! All right, here we go. Not bad so far. They switched Zarya, this is a common theme we see. They went Zarya because you're on Orisa. Because I look at your comp and I go, there's no... Just to give you an idea, why we're sitting here and we're talking about what is a counter to Zarya right now. Go. No, actually, Winston actually is. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, Winston actually is. I agree. But chat, you're looking at a counter swap. Ryan's pretty good against Zarya too. You're talking about a counter swap situation, right? This is why Overwatch goes a little bit beyond sometimes the counter swaps. Who is a counter to Zarya? There we go. Much better. Bastion is a counter to Zarya. So, what happens here is this Zarya is so hard focused on going a counter to the Orisa, because you always hear, oh, if they have an Orisa, go Zarya. But this is the next step, right? They go Zarya to try to counter the Orisa, because it's just, they're thinking purely on the 1v1 against the other tank, and now you have a Bastion who is apparently just vibing right here, is going, thank you for going Zarya. Because that is exactly what I was hoping for. Because Zarya can absolutely get shredded by a Bastion. So now they have just tried to swap off to go against the Orisa, when in reality, they've actually helped your team comp. See? Yeah, that's Zarya's gonna have a good time with point. See? And that's why sometimes with the counter swapping, it can turn into that issue where, like, you're so focused on the other tank and what you should go against the other tank that you forget that, like, wait, the Bastion will be significantly better than the counter of Zarya against Orisa. You know what I'm saying? Do I think D.Va would be a good pick against their comp? I don't mind this ult, by the way. I do want to say, be careful of being... How do I explain this? You ever watch a Reaper shift into your team, and it's so obvious you're gonna ult? Try not to just, like, javelin spin across, like, a valley to get an ultimate off. Because then it becomes really obvious you're making that play and a lot easier to counter. So I want to point out, the other team had nothing going there. See? They made the swap to Zarya, which made it significantly easier for your team, and now your team's off to a good start already. You see what I'm saying? Just like that, because they were so hard focused on that. I do gotta say, for you, I think that your biggest issue is that you just don't know what you want to, where you want to go, what you want to do next. So you spend a lot of the time just kind of like spinning in circles and just hitting random buttons, and like, there's just, I think for you, your biggest issue is that you just don't know what you want to do. And what's gonna help you is just a step-by-step process of like come up with your first plan that you want to do, and then go from there. Don't just like tunnel vision somebody, start blasting, doing all that. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna be as ideal. Don't mind D.Va for now, but I want you to be careful of what you're doing, which is okay. I gotta pause already because this is what happened. We're gonna talk about it right away. I'm just gonna show you because like this is what you did. So this is where you were. Ready? You're playing D.Va. You have a Ramattra in front of you, right? The Ramattra was like around here, and then you had a Bastion. And this is what I talk about the tunnel vision. You ready? You walk up. You're like, okay, I'm on D.Va. I'm going against Bastion. This is gonna be amazing. I'm excited. This is gonna be great. And then the Bastion goes, okay, I'm going over here. Bye. Oh, sorry. The Bastion goes, I'm gonna go over here. Bye. And you go, all right, have a nice day. Have a wonderful day. Thank you for stopping by. It was good to see you. But there's a Ramattra in front of me now, so I'm gonna go over there. See you later. Bye. Right? So a Bastion goes to your left, and you decide you're just gonna. The Bastion's on my line of sight. That's it. Bye. No, you can't really 1v1 the Ramattra until they use their Nemesis form. You can do damage to them to force out Nemesis form. You have a Bastion to your left who is now LOS their team, and your decision was to sit on the Ramattra. What happens? Your teammates now need to save you with all their cooldowns. Win or lose, you've forced your teammates to have to use cooldowns they shouldn't have to use because you tunnel vision somebody in front of you and not go for a Bastion to your I don't know. It's so hard to know where I'm going, right? I don't know what that was, but you get my point. So you got to stop tunnel visioning as much. That's what's happening to you. All right, let's go back to this now. So that's the point I'm trying to make there is like, oh yeah, going right up the map. Saw that coming from a mile away. Yep. So be careful of when you're around those corners, when you start to like, that was just, your movement was just not ideal there. I'm gonna be honest with you. Now, I just talked about this recently in the D.Va guide we posted on the first channel. Your matchup against Ramattra is more about forcing out Nemesis form than it is just going into the Ramattra over and over again, right? You want to force out the form, and then you can worry elsewhere. Okay. Not a bad fly in there. I do want to point something out. One thing you can also do, and you don't have to necessarily do it now, especially when they're in Nemesis form. Good job there on the supports, is I cannot believe they didn't fall in there. And by the way, if you just fly at them right there and just like slightly boop them, they're going right into the well. What was I gonna say? Did you need to get a code because you want gameplay review, but you don't like this season specifically? That's fine because, I mean, apparently there's gonna be some, possibly major gameplay changes coming soon to Season 9, which, I mean, there's going to be a lot more to look at from a spectating point of view, in the sense that, it's going to be a lot to learn, a lot to look at, so we'll see. Ult in here's fine, I don't mind it. Just be careful of the, oh, that's a good save, actually. Nice ult. Bastion's going to be your target. Bastion's your target. Bastion, there you go, much better. I don't want you going for the Ramattra in those situations. There's always this, tendency on tank where players feel like they have to take the 1v1 against the tank, and sometimes you do. Keep in mind, there'll be times where people will be watching the stream and they're like, excuse me, why aren't you just running into their backline in a straight line at their Brig Zen? Or at their Bap Zen, or their Bap Ayari, or their Ana Brig, and it's like, well, if you want to watch me run back from spawn, I can give you a beautiful view of the map consistently, right? Because there's been this kind of mindset that, you can't shoot the tank, you have to dive their backline. It's all about what's happening in general in the game. It's not just one specific do this every single time. Sometimes I'll be on the tank the whole game because I have to be. I can't go to their backline. Sometimes their backline is susceptible because their tank is playing away from me. Or we're always getting their tank. There's different variations of how you're going to play. It's not just like the one strat of just run to their backline because you can't. I mean, it can change a little bit in some ranks, but it's a lot. It can be difficult to do that. Be careful. All right. We'll go with charge and support ult for your teammates. Always eat the Moira Orb when you can. I don't mind this play. This is a good play. You're gonna boot that on accidentally. Oh no, there you go. Ooh, this is gonna be tough. Yep, just focus the Bastion right now. There you go, nice. I think your team's gonna win that. Maybe not. You just go in a point here. I'm not gonna, whenever like you stagger back to the point, I'm not gonna really sit there and like be like, oh, what are you doing there? Like, you have two options. You go to the point, you get a few extra percentage to guarantee the 99% are getting the limb, force an overtime spawn, or you fall back and just regroup with your team and be like, you know what, if next team fights a win. There's two options there. I think from the, if you want me to go down to like the analytical part of that, you probably don't have to go to the point. Once you're at like a certain percentage, like 90 something percent, maybe even 89%, you're probably gonna win the team fight, or win the game. I would recommend in the 90% range just because of that. That's an ultimate. That's gonna get the Zarya because Zarya's out of, yep. You know what, nice ult. That's one of those, okay. I'm gonna tell you something here, all right? I am an absolute fan of going in and trying to remech on somebody, okay? Absolutely love the play. But when it's 99% to 83%, sometimes those plays are not gonna be as ideal, and that allows the other team to come back. So, as much as I love that, the concept, that's probably not the best timing to do that because you're guaranteeing winning the game if you get in your suit. Now, you're probably still going to win the game, but yeah. It's just, those are the moments where you lose those games in that type of situation and go, how do we lose that? And then we rewind back to that. You should be fine though. Based off of like the numbers your team has, you should be fine. And you were. But just be careful of that, especially in that situation. Anyway, yeah, your biggest issue that I'm honestly seeing right now is you just really need to work on your tunnel vision. I find that a lot of the time you just, if somebody's in front of you, you're going to go for them. If somebody goes to your left, that's it. You're not going to go for them. So, you asked about what your D.Va specifically. You got to work on your flight control. Your defense matrix management was a little bit off. Sometimes you were just randomly DMing for no reason. It happens on D.Va. You just want to minimize on that. Go for remechs. In certain situations, this is probably not the best one. Because we know what happened in this situation. Overall, it was an okay game. I do think you need to definitely work on, like, step-by-step of what you want to do in a team fight. Start with just your first step. Go from there, and then you'll start to improve over time. But yeah, you tunnel vision a lot, so focus a little bit more on everything rather than just the tunnel vision. Yeah, cooldowns could actually use a little bit there too, so. If you like this video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to all 3 YouTubes if you have not yet. If you haven't yet. If you want to submit your own spectating, look in the description below. You will see my Discord. That's where you would submit a spectating. We also record these live on stream. If you look below the stream, we have the Twitch chat right there. We have a lot of fun here, so stop by if you haven't. And with that being said, I hope you have an amazing day/night.